Hello? Hello? Is this thing on? Hello?
Yep, we're
Hello?
going.
I think we are live here. CSRA's The Talk, episode 1. Just gonna double check real quick before we get started. Um, yep, we are live. Let me just audio check. Hello? Hello? Is this thing on?
I
Hello?
think it's working.
Hello? I think
He-
we are live here. Okay, I'm gonna mute my mic real quick. Painter, after I do a mic check, you do a mic check. So, mic check 1, 2, 3.
Mic check 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, yeah, we are good. I'm gonna turn down my mic just the slightest little bit, and then we are good. Okay. So, welcome to CSRA's episode 1 of The Talk, and today we are talking about several topics, um, really just across the first week and a half of the CSRA Formula NASCAR schedule. I am joined by the Red Bull Tesla team owner, Painter.
Hello.
And he's gonna be my co-host through most of the season because he's hilarious for no reason. And yeah, who doesn't? Who else? I mean, who else would I do it with? To be fair. Um. So, anyways,
We're ditching Cole.
yeah, Cole's busy working. What a loser. Um. So, anyways, we're gonna start with we're gonna talk about the Chicago dominance from Aldery. So, at Chicago, I gotta pull up some of these stats actually. Let me pull up the timing stand from. So Aldery won the Chicago Grand Prix by 10 seconds, by just over 10 seconds, and that's amazing considering you take the fact that it was a 6 lap shootout. At
Yeah, 6 lap restart where he just pulled he even wrecked at the start of the restart, too.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can actually work on pulling that up. If you would, Painter, while I'm working on this, talk about really the talk about what happened at Chicago GP from your perspective.
It was an interesting race. I mean, if you look at it from even the qualifying sessions, we had a little bit of drama starting in the first session. Michael Barberic got into a little controversy and ended up getting a grid penalty pretty early on.
Oh yeah, I
And there
forgot
was
about
some
that.
prizes really quickly in the testing sessions. If I can go pull up the timing board, it's like right here. Where is it? Session results. Really early on, it was quite obvious that Audrey was the fastest. Uh, I mean, he ran a 0.52, 1052. That's incredible considering everybody else's
Yeah.
times were barely in the 0. 0.6, 1.07, 1.08. That's like the average time. He's over there running 1052
Hmm.
in the first qualifying session.
Okay, Painter, if you will stay quiet for 1 second, I'm gonna see if this audio is coming through this mic. No, it is not. Okay, let me just quickly get an audio capture real quick for
You messed it up already.
nah, for the YouTube.
Oh, okay.
I'm connecting the YouTube video so that we can hear audio from the YouTube video. So, anyways, I'm about to pull up the clip from the Outery incident. Um, Very interesting, Rick. We're gonna have it in the bottom corner right down here. As soon as I get it in the right spot, there it is. There it is. Little tri panel here. Painter can't see it. It's kind of funny actually. He can see the live stream though. I think he has the live stream pulled up.
I gotta go pull it up again.
So
Let's
anyways, we're gonna fast forward here to the final restart. Okay, I think here's about where we're gonna have this restart. I'm gonna turn that audio way
120,
down on this restart.
125, I think. Just behind that. Yeah,
125.
125.
Yeah, here we go. They're getting ready in the carousel right now. So if I can pull this up, yeah, here we go. They're racing around to the. So for reference, it was looked like it was going to be a green flag run to finish the race, and Outery was pulling ahead. You know, the normal Outery things at Chicago
Actually,
GP.
it was pretty close. Outery and Snov were battling, and then
Yeah,
Snov got a little clip right before the lag spike took
yeah.
over.
It looked to me like the Haas was really nicely built for Chicago. So we'll really see here in Sebring tomorrow how the teams stack up again. But we're about to pull up this clip now. As if I skip ahead, that's a little bit afterwards. Okay, restart is right here.
126.39.
So you can see it's not the biggest window in the world, but you can still see what's going on. And well, here we go. Okay, here's the clip of the restart. Well, I went a little bit too far. So here they come out of the final corner here on the restart with 6 to go, or 5 to go actually. And Snob's on the outside. Outery straight turns himself, and it was very interesting. A crash goes on. Outery actually goes on to like get spun again, and loses. He loses the lead. Not the lead. He falls down to like 7th, 8th place, and he managed to come back. Not just come back. It was hilarious how he took the lead because Norfolk, who drives for myself with the Corvette Chevrolet team, looked like he was gonna take the win and upset at Chicago. And if he would have pulled off that upset, it would have been amazing for the Chevrolet team, considering they've admitted it. I've admitted it. Our car is not meant for a street circuit. And we got second. Norfolk finished second. So it was a great result for us at
Yeah, you guys
Chicago.
had both finishing the points actually. Brock DeVite finished I think it was 8th.
Yeah,
it was 8th.
Brockdale finished 8th, and yeah, Norfolk finished second, and I think we're 3rd in the constructors. I think I have it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
we're
guys have
3rd in the
32.
constructors.
Or you guys are 10 behind the Haas though, which is
Yes.
surprising
Yeah.
considering that other than Outery dominating Chicago, Agent didn't pull up with the car. So I've talked with a couple other drivers and they've been saying that um they don't think it's the car, they think it's Outery. So
Ah.
the Haas
Yeah.
might not be that great of a car.
Yeah. See, that's really what we're gonna have to start seeing, because regulation changes. We're probably going to see a regulation change after Sebring. It's a 66% possibility of it happening. And that will really shake up the field if we do get a regulation change in the aero or power department. And one of those major departments, we can really see a team that puts a lot into one area just fall. But we're going to Sebring tomorrow, which is a very skill based track, and it's also a car based track just because of some of the slow corners. But it's a mix of skill and car, and I think skill matters a little more than car at Sebring for obvious reasons. But it's not a street circuit. You can get away with some things, but also being implemented this week is the new tire barriers. We may see Outery, who knows, overshoot a corner, get stuck on
I
a
mean,
tire barrier, out of the race.
in the testing session, we saw what can happen if you overshoot a corner with me and Judge specifically, the Williams. Uh,
Yeah, I don't. I have a screenshot of it somewhere, but Painter
I
ended
can
up
send it to you right now.
Painter ended up in the on the tire barrier on his side, and it was a sight to see. If you're in the Discord server, you can probably find it somewhere. It was amazing. It was probably the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. Um, he would have definitely been out of the race if it was the race itself. Coming from the Sebring testing session, I guess we can go ahead and skip to that talk about the Sebring testing session that we had on Thursday night. Thursday, the race 2 was changed from the Mobile Grand Prix at the South Mobile Street Circuit to the Florida Grand Prix at Sebring International Raceway, just due to a few circumstances that we wanted to avoid. So Sebring is now race 2, South Mobile is race 3. If I get these session results, Beast Sonata, top of the board in the testing session at Sebring.
Pulled it hard. I just can't quite put a finger on who's actually good because nobody put together a completely perfect lap. You can see the difference. The top 3 put a 145 and then it drops to 148.
Yes. Yeah, Snob fourth, and Snob said he did not get a good lap in, but that's also almost 3 seconds behind. Now, however, I will say right now the lap times at Sebring's about a 145.6. That's the top time. Expect the top times tomorrow to be anywhere from a 140 to a 142, just because upgrades coming to the tracks becoming faster in some sections, becoming more friendly for the cars. Because the reason we do the testing sessions is to find out what needs to be fixed before the Grand Prix on Sunday. And so tracks being made wider in some corners, tracks being made more friendly just because we're on roadblocks. And of course, I mean, you can't have the tightest corners on roadblocks. So expect the times to be about 3, 4, 5 seconds faster even. Heck, I won't be surprised if we get into the 130s. It just depends on how much some of these corners are changed.
I feel like a perfect lap you could see somewhere in the 136 range, but I don't think it's possible to run a perfect lap on Sebring on Roblox at least.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
The best chance is probably Outery if he can replicate his dominance he had at Chicago, but I feel like due to Sebring being a much longer track, he's going to get fatigued a lot more in the later sections. It's almost impossible to run a perfect lap when you get fatigued.
I'm gonna look up how long the Sebring track is. Sebring Raceway is I almost had to mute my mic. Hold up. If I ever have to mute my mic or just go off, just talk for a second, because my grandma probably walked down and had to deal with something. But anyway, the current track is 3.741 miles. So we do 120-mile races for our normal speed tracks. Medium speed tracks, we do 150 miles, which will be South Mobile. South Mobile will be 150 miles, which is about 75% the length of a Formula One race, or it's about 70%. Currently, because a Formula One race is 190 miles. That's the full F1 length, but we're of course in stock cars and on Roblox. I mean, we don't want to race for that long. So 190. So the normal race length is 120 miles, which is 63% of a normal F1 race is what we normally do. 63%. Sebring will be doing 120 miles. So if I do 120 divided by 3.741, Sebring will be a 33 lap race. So not a terribly long race, but if we look at it, I mean, 33 laps around a track that's going to be about a minute 40. The race will last about 70 minutes. It'll be about the same as Chicago, maybe a little faster, give or take. South Mobile, of course, will be running 30 more miles because
33 laps.
33 laps.
It's going to be around an hour if we go completely cautionless.
Yes, and that was about the same green flag time. That was exactly the same green flag time as we expected at Chicago, because Chicago was 55 laps. Of course, a shorter track, way shorter of a track. South Mobile next week, it'll be 36 laps, I think, around something like that. I'm not very certain. South Mobile will be one of the longer tracks of the season. It's at about 4.1 miles, I think. It's huge. However, the length of the races depends on how fast the track is. South Mobile has an average lap speed of about 160 miles an hour. Very fast track. That's going to give it one of those medium speed tracks, which is 150 miles, so 30 extra miles compared to Chicago or Sebring. However, we also have the 190 mile races, which will be full length F1 races, which will be Le Mans, because Le Mans, has like a 4 mile straightaway. So, and if that race is going to go fast, that's going to be the longest race of the season. Probably will be Le Mans, which is week 4. Um,
Maybe Elwood as well, considering it's a super speedway. It's full on speed the entire
Uh,
time.
Elwood actually, I think, gets a distinction. It's not going to be 190 miles. I think it'll be like 200, 250 miles, somewhere around that. I'm not sure yet. We'll get back on that one. I think, I think it'll be 190 miles. It'll probably be just a full length, and then the other 190-mile race will be Avis, because we will head to Berlin, Germany on the autobahn, and that will be late in the season. So we'll see some interesting tactics for Avis. So anyway, Sebring, track modifications coming for Sunday should allow racing to be closer, a little more fun. I think Sebring, we will see the field spread be a lot higher, but I think we'll see less wrecks, just because it's not a street circuit. Uh, well, it'll be interesting to see what we see tomorrow. Beast Sonata, though, we're going to talk about Aston Martin now. Beast Sonata got that Aston Martin team Thursday before the first race. So a little over a week, like a week and a half ago, basically. And Beast Sonata took a team that was basically AFK. It was Spooky and Zane. Neither one of them has been seen for a while. Beast Sonata joins. He's a nice guy. I said, hey, he's been in a few testing sessions, and I was like, hey, do you want this team? You seem like you'll have some fun with it. You'll stay active, whatever. And he said, sure. And so he took over the team, got pole in the first race of the season, which was insane. Like, it was a major shocker that Aston Martin taking pole at Chicago. And then first in the testing session at Sebring. I mean, Beast has speed, and it's impressive, especially considering he has not had a ton of time in the Champ Chassis cars. In our style of racing, he hasn't had a ton of experience. He's just fast. Of course,
every time you're around him, you can kind of just feel that he's gonna go for a move. And he's always keeps it up. He doesn't wreck you when he's going for the move. He just keeps it up. Now I know we were all a little concerned because he was wall banging a lot in Chicago, but he still had speed even when he wasn't wall banging. He just happened to be victim of circumstance.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll really see how it goes this week, considering you can't really wall bang here at Sebring. If you try to wall bang, you're gonna wall yourself into a tire barrier and spin. So I mean, we'll see. I think Sebring will be a test of really seeing people's pace, because Sebring's going to be comparable to like Indianapolis later in the season. The Indianapolis road course, the Elwood road course. It's much more of a traditional road course. So it'll be interesting. Because we have Sebring this week, a traditional road course, and then we have South Mobile, which is known as the Jeddah of the South. So really fast street circuit, but we'll see. Aston Martin's pace, really surprising. Beast Sonata came home with 4th after a photo finish with JIS. I think. Was it JIS? No.
It was JIS and Snov at the line.
Yeah, JIS and Snov.
I think he was right behind them. I think he was 5th.
Yeah, he came home 5th because he wrecked in the final corner. Yes, Snov got passed in a photo finish with JIS. JIS taking home a podium for the Alpha Saito team. And just a little history behind Alpha Saito. That team was Alfa Romeo in Season 1 of CSRA Formula NASCAR. And we all know what happened. In Season 1 of CSRA Formula NASCAR, of course, it was the real F1 teams just with their R&D to start the season. This season started differently. Different teams. A few teams returned, but every team had the same R&D entering the season in terms of R&D points. Each team went a different way with their car, but, I mean, they're basically even anyway. It's not like they started out with a disadvantage or not. Alfa Romeo was a mid-pack team last season, and they with Dale turned right, who was a Haas driver at the time. He filled in. Dale turned right, who is also known as Landon Vi, took home a win for them at the Elwood Oval last season, which was amazing. You can find that somewhere on YouTube on the Arctic Draft YouTube page. It was amazing. But yeah, that team getting a podium first race of the season that wasn't Nass place. That
Yeah,
was interesting.
and we still don't know how to rate Nass plays on the road courses. He had a great run at Chicago. He just was never able to really crack into the top three. The top three were kind of set from the start. It was a surprise when Snov fell out and Addicted, which, by the way, Ferrari had a really good race and it ended up struggling in the end.
I
With
agree.
Addicted only getting 10th place, barely getting into the points for Ferrari.
Yes.
It was nearly uh it was really out of the normal. Usually you see him running, first, second place. He should have been competing with Audrey in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Nass plays, we've talked about it, and I mean, we've talked about it from the beginning. Does he have pace on the road courses? Of course, we know he has pace with the Indy cars on road courses. We know that. He's amazing with the Indy cars on road courses. I mean, of course, he won the season one, our CSRA IndyCar season one championship. Um, so we know he has speed in the Indy cars, and he took a win in IndyCar. I think, yeah, he took a win at Elwood, Elwood, jeez, excuse me,
The
the road
road
course. Yeah, he
course.
took a win at Elwood Road Course in the Indy cars. So we know he has speed on the road courses in the Indy cars. It's just, does he have it in the stock cars? We'll see. He's just getting his toes wet right now. I think he'll be back later on in the season. Especially, I think he'll be better at the faster tracks. That tends to be what Nats plays is good at. Is the faster tracks.
Yep.
So
Every time he's running those super speedways, he's always in contention. It's just those super speedways. He's had some very, very bad luck. Elwood Super Speedway last year, he actually died hitting the fence and then getting clipped by me.
yeah,
Helmet to rear wing.
yeah. Nats plays has actually died a lot in this league. I mean, dating back to 2020, he died at Talladega. And then last year, he died at Elwood twice, I think. Something like that. I don't know. It was impressive. Um, but anyways, we're going to move on to now. We're going to talk about the Audis. Um, the Audi team, a little controversial at the Chicago Grand Prix. Both drivers struggled with other drivers, fussed with other drivers. Just the field did not like the Audis at Chicago GP. Painter, you were a driver in that race and a team owner. How's your stance with this?
Uh, I haven't seen a worse performance from a team that could have been good. Infinity Foxlet was sort of fast. Easty have seen some speed out of him sometimes. It's just they're never consistent enough. And then we finally got to see them in a race in pack, and they were hazards on the track. I've seen hazards before. I've been a hazard before, and I haven't seen drivers get so angry at a team before, and I think it was deserved. I've I've seen them take out at least 4 cars each, and even though they were running in the top few, Foxlet is actually running in the top 5 for some of the race. They would just wreck themselves back into the pack, and that's why they ended up with not as many points as other teams.
Yeah, if you look at the constructors, Audi is one of those teams with 0 points, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, Audi
they're
has
one of
0 points.
4 teams with 0.
Yeah, currently 4 teams with 0 points, being Dodge, Audi, McLaren, and Williams. Williams, one of those teams with 0 points, and this is where we're gonna start talking about Williams now. So Williams has a very fast driver on their roster, Judge. We know Judge has a ton of speed. And unfortunately, Judge was not able to be at the first race of the season in Chicago. And with that happening, they only had one driver at the Chicago GP because their sub decided he was not going to race. And so at the Chicago GP, Williams picked up, I think, one R&D point, and that was killer for them. So Williams
Yeah.
probably won't have any upgrades going into Sebring, which I mean is okay for now. They're not far behind. But if we think of the positive, Judge at the Chicago GP test on the Thursday before the first race, Judge was second to Snob, who was in the Tesla. He was only 3 tenths down. Judge has pace. We know Judge has pace.
Yeah, it was interesting because up until the top, Daytona Janitor has been fast before. He's run, he's had some winning races. He's done very solid, and then he came out onto the track and he was 4 laps down, and we were just like, why is he out on the track?
And one a rumor going around, honestly. I mean, if you look at Janitor's stats, I mean, testing session last Thursday at Chicago, 5 seconds off the pace from the top runner, and he was 4.5 seconds slower than his teammate. And then if you look at um, Chicago GP free practice, he was 5 seconds off the pace still. Um, but he got his stuff. He got his Janitor got his stuff going in Q1. He made it out of Q1 into Q2, which was amazing. Um, in Q2, he gets taken out. He qualified 14th. He was only 4 seconds off in Q2. But then we go and look at the race results. Daytona Janitor.
Not on
Daytona
the list.
Janitor.
He
He didn't
he didn't
finish.
finish the race.
Yeah, he didn't finish the race, and so that's how Williams only got one R&D point. So Judge is back now for his home race, the Sebring, or not the Sebring Grand Prix. It's the Florida Grand Prix, but it's at the Sebring International Raceway. Um, this is a lot for Judge. This is his home race, and we know that he will have speed. I mean, heck, if we look at the times from Thursday, the Sebring testing session, Judge was only one and a half
He's right
sec.
around
No,
mid pack.
yeah, he was 1 second off of Snob, and I mean Snob was about 3 seconds off, but of course he didn't get a good lap in for multiple circumstances. Track has changed now. Track is more fun now. Track is faster now. So we'll really see. I think the Williams team will get their act back together, but the issue is Judge can't carry that team alone. I don't think Judge will be able to carry Williams alone because Outery can get away with it if he has to carry Agent. Agent can hold his own ground at most circuits, but if Outery has to carry Agent, he can do it. We know Outery can get top. He can get a podium result every week. We know
He
this.
could, he can win. He could win every week. He's in
Yes.
contention to win. It's never about if Outery's
Mhm.
gonna win because we know he's gonna win. It's just when is he gonna get the lead? When is he gonna pull away?
See, and some of this is going to be what teams start getting luck from R&D because now the first week it was uh, for a team it was if a car makes it to 50% of the race they get an R&D point. Each car in the points gets a R&D point, and then fastest lap was an R&D point. Now the R&D point for your car making it to halfway still stands, so you can get two R&D points that way. Those are two pretty easy R&D points. But now the new system is they don't know how they're getting R&D points until after the race. So you have, of course, the car making it to halfway. That's set in stone. But after the race, we'll spin a wheel twice with like 10 different possibilities to get R&D points. And heck, it can be the bottom 10 that get R&D points. We don't know. And it's really going to start shaking up the grid. But the question starts to arise. Janitor may have got his act together at Sebring. It was hard to tell. Will Judge have to drop Janitor before the end of the season? And if he does, who will it be? And
I I could definitely see him drop. I don't think it'll be instantly. I think he's going to give him a race or two more. But as we see from the Sebring testing session, Janitor's down second last, and the only person who ran slower than him was Michael, and Michael's lap was atrocious.
Michael was
I
just getting
mean,
laps in. I think he was on mobile. I'm
yeah,
not sure.
he was struggling. 213.7 is absolutely
He was
atrocious.
about 30
So
seconds off. For reference, he was just getting 5 laps in to get the R&D point.
yeah, I had the same thing as well, and
Yeah.
I was running 3 minute laps, 3 minutes, like
It,
40
it
second
didn't even
laps.
count. It didn't even count one of your laps. So unfortunately, you didn't even get the R&D point from that session, which sucked.
Actually, you told me I got the R&D point.
You didn't set a legal time. I'm sorry.
I tried to, and it didn't let me.
Sounds like a you problem, buddy.
I ran too slow that the timing board didn't pick it up.
That's awful. um, but anyways, we saw Williams struggles now, but Judge is back, so we'll really see Williams pace. Williams will be in the points this weekend. I think that's for certain.
Yeah, that's pretty much a given. Unless, even though, since they didn't get too many points other than janitors, what if the car really does come to bite them in the
I don't think it'll
in
bottom
the
yet.
butt?
If it keeps up, it'll start. Teams will start to notice R&D struggles about midway through the season, or about race 4 or 5, maybe. I think we may start seeing it at Le Mans. That's where we will start seeing issues when it comes to um, R&D. So, anyways, we're gonna. Oh, there's the picture in general of Painter upside or sideways on the barrier. That was entertaining. So, Painter, we're gonna start talking about tomorrow. What can we expect to see tomorrow from Sebring?
There's a lot we're probably going to see with the new addition of the tire barriers. We're gonna get a lot of. Are we running the virtual safety car?
No virtual safety car. We're just gonna throw sector cautions if we have to deal with any of that.
We're gonna see a lot of sector cautions. There's gonna be a lot of push. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of cautions as well. There's gonna be people knocking a bunch of them onto the track at
Uh,
the same time.
so do you think we will see more safety cars and more DNFs with these barriers? Will we see someone get knocked onto a barrier by no fault of their own and just out of the race because they can't do anything about it?
I think it's gonna be a couple. I think there's gonna be a lot of wrecking. It's a faster track than Chicago GPT around the whole circuit, and there's a lot more tougher corners, a lot more little bumps in the track on the grip. Uh, the grip's gonna be atrocious sometimes through some of those corners, and on the straightaway, entering the straightaway, people are gonna look to maximize speed, and they're gonna slam into those tire barriers,
Uh,
and it's gonna cause big wrecks.
I think the chances for a safety car due to a multi-car wreck is lower just because it's a natural road course. But I think the chances of a safety car due to someone stuck on or in a barrier is much higher. I think we can see. I mean, I think we'll have 18 cars tomorrow, 18, 19 cars tomorrow. I'm not sure. McLaren, I know, is looking for a reserve. We'll talk about McLaren here in a second. McLaren's looking for a reserve for Michael. I don't know how Lexus is going to do, but I think we'll have about 18 cars in the race tomorrow. I expect about 13, 14 to finish, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I could see that. I know I should make the race, but there's a possibility I can't, in which we'd have my backup driver Howie run in,
Mhm.
and arguably Howie's faster than me
Yeah.
sometimes. He ran faster than me in the testing sessions. Uh, it's just a concern about whether he could finish in the top 10, because that's the main goal. You always want to get as many points as possible.
And, I mean, Sebring higher tire wear this weekend. We are bringing a softer tire. I think we'll see more 2 stops, maybe a 3-stop strategy even. So pit road's going to be interesting. Strategy game's going to be interesting. It'll be really interesting to see what happens tomorrow at Sebring in the Florida Grand Prix. Do we expect Aldery to dominate, or will it be more of a race between Snob and Addicted and Allery, or what do we expect to happen?
If Outry shows tomorrow, I don't think he dominates like Chicago. I don't think he leads, half the laps, pops up, runs it. Uh, I just don't. I just don't see the dominance
Mm-hmm.
happening again. I can see Snob easily pulling away and winning. I could see Addicted pulling away and winning. I could see even heck. I could even see some like B Sonata.
Mm-hmm.
I could see the main driver on any team running away,
Yeah, okay,
almost,
that's
except
fair
for
enough.
Audi and McLaren and a few of the other bottom teams.
Of course, Sebring's going to be a very interesting race start. Very fast turn one. You can't really send it in turn one. I don't think we'll see a wreck in turn one. If we see a wreck in turn one, I mean it's going to be huge. Because the thing about turn one is if someone wrecks in turn one, they're gonna get flung back into the middle of the track, and then we have a huge pile up. I don't think we'll wreck in turn one. I think we will see a big wreck in turn two.
I also think what will affect the decision is whether we start the race before or after the real cup race is over.
Yeah, that
I.e.,
we
there's
won't
still
start
people.
qualifying until after that.
Makes sense.
Okay, so we will start practice during the end of it, but I mean it's whatever. Um, so anyways, um, let's see. Do we see a first lap DNF tomorrow?
But we will see a flip DNF. Think for sure. Um, I have my predictions. I think it's gonna be. I think it might be either a McLaren or an Audi. I
That's
think they're
fair.
gonna wreck each other, because I know there's a lot of hate between those two
Mm-hmm.
cars specifically. I know Michael greatly dislikes them, and I know Foxlet's not gonna give any space.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
So
interested to see whether Lexus can carry Michael to a couple points finishes or not this season.
yeah, it'll be interesting. So anyways, we're gonna wrap it up with a few things for Sebring. It's going to be an interesting race tomorrow. The Florida Grand Prix means a lot to a good bit of drivers. I think we have a few Florida drivers in the field. Judge, the biggest name I think from Florida in the field. So we'll see. 33 laps tomorrow. It's going to be a hard, tough race tomorrow. High tire wear. It'll be a more classic race. Yeah,
And I believe you said that we've changed the car bumping where it doesn't slow you down as much.
yes, that as well. So we will see less of that. But anyways, I mean, it's a big day of racing today. I mean, Kentucky Derby's today. Miami Grand Prix qualifying in real life F1 is actually about to start. So it's a good weekend this weekend. So um we're about to close off. Anything you'd like to say before we close out this episode,
Good luck
Tanner?
to all the drivers tomorrow. Unfortunately, they will not beat Snob. Snob's too good, but good luck. And
Yeah. So anyways, I'm Ashton Champion here, CEO of CSRA. Painter down there is the owner of Red Bull, Tesla, in CSRA Formula NASCAR. And we are going to sign off on this episode one. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next weekend probably for CSRA The Talk episode 2, where we will be talking about the Sebring race. And then I think we have an off week next week, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. So we'll see you then. Have a good day, guys.